The Radical. Fundamental principles of freedom, rational self-interest, and individual rights. This is the Yaron Brook Show.
All right, everybody, welcome. Welcome to the Yaron Brook Show. All right, we're trying something new today, so you have to bear with me. This looks a little different. All right. Thanks, everybody. Today is indeed my birthday. Oh, thanks, Landon. I'm Landon Walsh's dad's age. I am. It turns out, yes, that I am 60 years old today. Now, it's hard for me to even say that because 60, how could I be 60? I'm like, no, that's impossible. I don't feel 60. I don't know how you're supposed to feel when you're 60. But however it is, I don't think I feel that. I feel normal. So anyway, I thought I'd celebrate my birthday with you guys. Since you've, particularly this last year, we've all been hanging out together quite a bit and doing a lot. Hey, Action Jackson, thank you. So I appreciate all the happy birthday wishes I got on Facebook, on Twitter, everywhere else. So I appreciate that. Thanks you, everybody. Now, also today, I am using, not we, I don't know who the hell we is. I'm using a new camera. This is the new camera for the new studio that is going to be set up. We'll start doing shows there on Friday. Friday show, if we do a show Friday, will be from the new setup. But I'm curious what you guys think. Can you tell a difference? Is the video seems a little strange to me, just monitoring here on OBS. So let me know if the video is smooth or disjointed, or that seems weird. So anyway, let me know what you think. I think the colors are more alive, right? I mean, the sculpture is much more vivid and real, and the colors in the paintings are much more bright. I think generally the colors are a bit, but the video's shaky, right? So those of you who know something about this stuff, I think it's set for like 60 frames per second. Is that the problem? You're saying it's not 60 frames per second. Maybe that's the problem. Ragnar of the Desert, thank you. Really appreciate that. Thanks, guys. That's very generous. So yeah, the video seems a little laggy. It's not connection. It's not the connection because I see the video a little laggy even on my computer, so which is connected directly to the camera. So frame rate seems a little off. If anybody knows what might be the problem, let me know so I'll play with it tomorrow and try to fix it. But anyway, I think if you put aside the little disjointedness, I think it looks really good. Looks better than the other camera, I hope. Cost a fortune. Just a lens cost a fortune. So I got a really nice lens, and I think it'll really frame nicely in the new office. Maybe I shouldn't be using 60 frames per second. Maybe I should be using 30 or 24. I think it's 24. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'll play around with it tomorrow and see what I can come up with. The problem with the computers is just trying to. There's so many different menus, so many different settings, so many different things you can change that it's troubling. 60 is high, but would 60 cause this kind of effect that we're seeing in the video? That's my question. And 60, of course, is my number today. 60 is the number. How did I get to be 60? It hasn't quite sunk in. It might not sink in until I'm like 70 or something, and then I'll look back and say, oh, 60, that was nothing. Alejandrina is very ambitious for my birthday. Alejandrina wants us to make it to $1,000 just as a kind of birthday special. So that's all her, has nothing to do with me, but that's she is very, very motivated for my birthday. So go for it, Alejandrina. It's all yours. If you can get to $1,000, that'll be a great birthday present if we can get the number up to $1,000 today. All right, so you guys have been asking for another Rules for Life, and now I have multiple sponsorships for the Rule for Life episode. So it looks like we're going to be doing Rules for Life, Yaron's Rule for Life ad infinitum. I just need to make sure I have enough rules and I have enough ideas for what those rules should be. You know, Jordan Peterson's up to 24. I think I'm still at like 6 or 7. So maybe there's so we should have enough, but we might get up to 50 or something, which is wrong and core busting, and then maybe we'll get to just me spilling out all the stuff that I think should help guide your life, and then essentialize it into a few rules that can live under the virtues, the moral virtues, and those of you interested in the moral virtues. I did a whole series on the moral virtues, and of course you've got Ayn Rand, you've got Elena Peikoff, you've got a lot of material on Rand's moral virtues, which is ultimately the guide to life. Shazbat says that on Jupiter, I would be 5 years old. I'm not sure I don't want to be 5 years old. I'm not sure I want to be 60, but I don't think I want to be 5 years old either, so... All right. So, given that it is my birthday today, I thought we'd talk about something that's obviously dear to my heart, and something that I've been bugging you about for a few years now, and I thought we'd kind of concentrate it as part of my Rules for Life, talk about one or two rules that relate to this, and let's see how much traction we get on that. Of course, in addition to all the happy birthday wishes, you can also use the super chat to ask any questions. Preference, of course, is to those who do $20 or more, and preference is to those who ask questions on topic. But, it is, I want to remind you, of course, of the guiding rule, the rule that frames all other rules, right? And really, it's the moral principle that frames all other moral principles. It's the moral principle that should frame all your actions in your life, all the guidance in your life, all the principles by which you live your life. And by now, you should know that rule by heart, right? You should know exactly what I'm talking about. Because that was the first rule for living that I did in Yaron Rules number 1, and of course I repeated in Yaron Rules number 2. And that is that your life is everything. Take it seriously. Be selfish in the proper meaning of that term. Take care of yourself. Which means an immense responsibility. Jeff, thank you. It's very generous. Thank you. That's an immense responsibility. And the responsibility here is to take responsibility over your own life, which means to figure out the values necessary for your life, the value necessary for your happiness. Then to use your mind, to use your reason, to use your rational faculty to figure out how to achieve those values and how to maintain those values, and therefore how to achieve and ultimately maintain your happiness, your flourishing, your life. So all these rules in the end are about taking your values seriously, about figuring out what they are, about not just accepting values because they feel right, but understanding why and how they contribute to your life, how and why they make your life better, they make you happier, they make your life more flourishing, more successful. And that's important. A lot of times, the guidance you get about values is, well, what are you passionate about? What do you like? But it's really, really, really important to not just to accept what you're passionate about, what you like blindly, but to think, to focus on, why do I like it? Is it rational for me to like it? Is it good for my life for me to like it? Are these passions based on reason, based on reality, based on fact? So don't just accept emotions. I mean, accept the emotion as an emotion, but don't just accept emotion as validations of a value. Value is that which you gain, that which you act to gain or keep. But a rational value has to be rational, pro-life. And your hierarchy of values needs to be structured in a way where your highest values are those values that contribute the most, that are most important. They are the foundation, even though they're at the top, of all your other values. They are the things most important to you and that you've identified as the ones that should be most important to you. All right. So that's the context. Remember, that's always the context. Take your life seriously. Your life is everything. There's only one, and it's everything. Yes, I think Ryan says this is very different than Jordan Peterson, who tells you that life is misery. Just deal with it. Don't pursue happiness, because it cannot be pursued. If you land up being happy, great, good for you, but don't expect to be, because you're probably not going to be. And the dominant thing about life is that it's miserable. Miserable. Yeah, it's kind of sad, because I like Jordan Peterson. He's a smart guy. And some of what he says is really, really good. And one of his new rules in his second Rules for Living book is very similar to the rule I want to focus on today. And that is, the rule I want to focus on today is surround yourself with beauty. Surround yourself with beauty. And we've talked about this in the past. Make your environment, shape your environment to be beautiful. Not just nice, not just pleasant, not just comfortable, but beautiful. Now, Jordan has, I think in his new book, one of his rules is take one room in your house and make it beautiful. And I'm like, why one room? Why not every room? And make it beautiful to the extent that you can. So, in making something beautiful, what does that mean? Right? You're making your environment around you beautiful. So first you have to identify, and we'll talk about more than just the environment, because I think, surround yourself with beauty means more than just the things and the architecture and but the first thing one has to do in order to surround yourself with beauty is to understand what beauty is for you. What is beautiful? What do you enjoy looking at? And some of it is art, and I'll get to art because I think art is another layer, right? The first layer is just aesthetic, make things aesthetic, right? And that includes, bring some plants into your house, make them green, make it a little green. It means, figure out what your favorite color is, the color that puts a smile on your face, or the color that just makes you feel at ease, or the color that makes you you enjoy it. You feel positive about it. And get stuff in that color and put that around you. Think about the things that you have, the decorations that you have. Jennifer has birds. She loves birds, so she put, she's got birds around her. Figure out the things that you love, the things that you like. Figure out what you think is beautiful. And again, think deeply about it, because don't just be superficial, and don't just accept convention, even your convention. Try to think, well, why do I think this is beautiful? There's a certain something about the human mind that likes symmetry. If you like things symmetrical, then create symmetry around you. So think about the furniture that you have, the tables that you have. And again, within your means, within what you can afford, try to come closest to what you find pretty, beautiful, aesthetic, in the context of your environment. Color in the walls, plants, whether you want a view or you don't want a view of what, where do you want to live? Again, if you can afford it, the shape of your house. So do it consciously. Do it consciously. Particularly when you're young, get in the habit of, what do I like? What are my favorites? How do I surround myself with things that I like and things that are my favorites? So that when I walk into a room in my house after a hard day of work or whatever, you should feel at home, and you should get a smile on your face. And you should feel like, this is my place. These are my values. This is my life. I take it seriously. I take enjoying it seriously. I take the pleasure within it seriously. Figure out what kind of furniture you like. What's comfortable. What's comfortable for different purposes, for watching TV, for just hanging out. And again, what kind of desk you want to work at. One of the things I like about Apple products is they're pretty. And there's real value in using products that have a really nice aesthetic to them. Alejandrina is really trying out there, guys, for my birthday. She's got an ambitious goal to raise Super Chat money on this date. So help her out. Help her out. So be conscious of every aspect of your life. Be conscious of the things you put around you, the environment you create for yourself. Make sure it's the best environment that you can create for yourself. I don't know about making your bed. That's a Jordan Peterson thing. I'm not big on making your bed. But if making your bed, partially because I don't go into the bedroom much. I mean, the bedroom is not the center of my life. So Maybe if it was, I'd want it more tidy and everything, but the bedroom's like over there. It's like, so that's kind of at the first level, if you will. Create an environment where you can think, where you can relax, where you can enjoy, where you can, again, feel at home. It's yours. And you understand why it's yours. Again, not just because emotion, but because you understand it. But then the second level is surround yourself with beautiful art. Do it partially because it's beautiful. So it's aesthetically pleasing. But importantly, art gives you a whole other depth, a whole other sense of emotional fuel that you don't get from any other aesthetic experience. It inspires, it motivates, it drives, it gives you the energy to live. It inspires you to live the best life that you can live. Right? Surround yourself with art that takes your breath away and excites you and gets you going. That gives you a sense that life is beautiful, that life is worth living, and that life is worth aspiring to more, to great things. That gives you the courage to be ambitious about life. That concretizes for you kind of those values. Concretizes your deepest values and that you love. And again, Michael, thank you. Well, Mike and Michael. Mike asks, what's the most beautiful car you've ever seen, driven, owned? I'm a car guy. The most beautiful car I've ever seen, I think, is still the Aston Martin. I love those cars. I just love the lines. I was told once by a guy who owned a Ferrari and an Aston Martin that was my feminine side. That I don't know why, but that Ferraris are masculine and Aston Martin are feminine. But I don't quite get that. But I just think maybe it's the soft lines, the rounded lines. It truly is a gorgeous car. There's actually a car, like an exotic car display room right in my building on the ground floor. So I walk by these cars every day. And they have a gorgeous McLaren. Just a gorgeous McLaren. Now, McLaren is the kind of car I could never drive. I couldn't get into it. It's too low down, like Ferraris and Lamborghinis. I can't get into them because I've got a bad back, and just getting into the seat and getting out of the seat kills me. So I need a car with a little bit more height. I think the Aston Martin has a little bit more height to it. But that's, I think, the most beautiful car I've seen. What is the most beautiful car I've ever driven? What's the most beautiful car I've ever driven? I don't know. I mean, I've had somebody else drive me in a Ferrari. That was a lot of fun. I've had somebody drive a professional race car driver drive me in a Celine supercar, which $1 million Celine supercar. That was a blast. I mean, your brain basically, goes to the back of your skull because when it accelerates, it goes so fast. But I've driven the nicest car I've ever owned, the funnest car, and I think the prettiest car I've ever owned was an Audi. It was the Audi S5. Yes, the Audi S5. A few years ago, before I moved to Puerto Rico, I owned an Audi S5. It had red leather seats. It was just a gorgeous car. So it's just a beautiful car. And I like it when your car is beautiful as well. again, just like everything else. And by the way, I saw pictures now of the Audi e-tron, the new electric car. It's a four-door sedan. Oh, just beautiful. I mean, it's an electric car, so I'm hesitant, but it's a beautiful, beautiful car. And for Puerto Rico, I'm not sure it's ideal. But yeah, I mean, that's part of surround your life with beauty, is have a car that when you look at it, you kind of smile. I like this. And when you drive it, you kind of smile. Hey, this is fun. Right? Now I have a nice car, but not a car that is fun. Right? Not a car that I enjoy. It's more of a utility for me. But I like the aesthetic value of a really, really cool, fast car, which gives you a lot of control. My Audi S5 was incredibly enjoyable. Right? Michael, thank you for that. I will get to the question, but let me finish the Yaron rules before I get to it. So that'll be my first question I answer once I get past this. So we were talking about art. So art is a reflection of your deepest values. It should evoke a real emotional response in you. Don't buy art because somebody else told you it's good. Don't buy art because it's classic, because Ayn Rand said it's good, because it's in a museum. Buy art that moves you. Now, again, like everything else that I've said, understand why it moves you. And some art might move you, and it turns out that it kind of shouldn't, in the sense that maybe you have to think about some of your values. But don't buy anything that's not going to truly inspire you. Don't expect the art to grow on you. If it's not there, don't buy it. Wait. When it grows on you, then buy it. And don't wait until you can afford some $3,000, $30,000, $300,000 original. You can buy posters. These are posters. I mean that's a Vermeer. That's the Geographer, which I think the original is in Switzerland. And it's beautiful. You can't really appreciate it here. And the truth is, with Vermeer, you can't truly appreciate Vermeers in posters. It's just like it more serves to remind me of a real Vermeer than being a real Vermeer. Right? It reminds me that there is such a thing. Actually, according to the poster, it's at the Louvre. It's not at the Swiss Museum. I think the astronomer is at the other museum. This is a Geographer, and it's at the Louvre. And I've seen it at the Louvre, so I know what it really looks like, and it's so much more. And it's so much more inspiring. And it's so much more emotional to see the real thing. I'd love to have the original in my home, but I can't. So I have a poster which doesn't have the full effect, but it's enough. And when you're young or when you're old, you're not going to be able to afford originals of the art that you love. That's okay. You can still buy posters, postcards, little prints, whatever, and put them in your home. Put postcards, prints, large prints, small prints in your home. And if it doesn't quite have the effect of the original, and it won't, it'll remind you of the effect the original had on you. Right? Thomas said framing art is 10 times more expensive than buying even a good print. It is, although again, that's if you want to go all out, and that's if you want the full aesthetic experience. But most of us, when we start out, certainly when I started out, I couldn't afford proper framing. So like these are just stuck on the wall. Partially because that wall is concrete and this is a rented place, so I didn't want to frame them and then drill holes in the wall and everything. But you don't have to frame them at $1,000 each. Or at $500 each. You can do this, or you can buy a plastic frame somewhere. Just put it up on your wall. And then as you have money and you want to make your place more beautiful, you want to surround yourself with even more beautiful stuff, then you can invest in the framing. You can keep investing in better furniture, better art, nicer art, and put it all up and frame it properly and make it really, really nice. And that is, so again, don't try for perfection and therefore not have anything. In every situation, create the most beautiful environment you can given the means that you have. And meaningful environments. Art gives it meaning. I mean, the sculpture, which is an original, it's an original cast in bronze that was done in the 19th century. It's expensive, but isn't that expensive. Not as expensive as you'd think for a bronze casting from the 19th century. That's David. I love the character of young David standing up to Goliath. I love the courage, the determination. It's inspiring. It's man at his best. So, yeah, that was a gift my wife gave me, basically. And it's amazing. So if I can surround myself with Davids, I can't have Michelangelo's David. And I find that when you shrink Michelangelo's David, it never looks right. So I would rather remember what it looks like in the original. You have to go to Florence for that, or you can get at least an approximation of that in Las Vegas at the Caesar's Palace has a copy of Michelangelo's David. And yeah, if I could have the number of really, really good sculptures of David, the number of sculptures that I would love to have copies of, but some of them don't exist. I think I showed one, maybe I have never showed it. I'll show you a print sometime of a sculpture of Spartacus, which is at the Louvre, which is just magnificent, one of my favorite sculptures. So surround yourself with art, visual arts that you can see, that you can experience. You can walk into the room, and there it is. Right? Jennifer asked, do you like Botticelli's Birth of Venus? We have a huge one in the bedroom. I saw the Birth of Venus recently. When was it? Well, it's like 2020 is a black hole, right? It doesn't exist. So I'm thinking last summer, but no, last summer was 2 summers ago. It was in 2019 when my wife and I were in Florence. We saw at the now I forget the name of the museum. Anyway, the main art gallery in Florence, you have Botticelli's Birth of Venus and many other Botticellis. So certain things I love about Botticelli's Birth of Venus. It's the colors, it's alive, it's vibrant. There's a lot of vitality to it. So it's a beautiful painting. And again, no poster is going to do its justice. But hey, it's better than having nothing. So if you love that, if it really does it for you, then get the poster, put it up above your bed. Absolutely. It really has that celebratory aspect to it. It's Jennifer writes, it's a celebration of birth and beauty. Absolutely. The Uffizi Gallery. Thank you. Thank you, Joseph. I've only been to the Uffizi, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in my life, but I'm 60 today, so I am forgetting certain names. Although I feel amazingly young, except for the fact that names I forget a lot. And that's been, you know this from my show, that's been happening a lot over the years. So yeah, the Uffizi Gallery, one of the great museums in the world. Yeah, and you could spend a good day at the Uffizi Gallery. There's so much to see, and the history's so interesting, and the artwork is just magnificent. All the seminal kind of painters of the Renaissance are represented in the gallery, and it's you can see it goes through historically. So from the very early Renaissance, pre-Renaissance, to the height of the Renaissance, you can see the evolution. And of course, Botticelli is key to that evolution and key to that, to the success. So yeah, surround yourself with plastic art that means something to you, art that is going to inspire you, that you're going to want to look at every day. Like, there's a lot of great paintings. Like, I love Caravaggio. I mean, I really love Caravaggio. There's something about the way he uses light, the way he creates drama with the shading and light, the way the faces are filled with emotion. You know exactly what they're feeling, what they're about to do, what's going on there. He captures a certain human spirit. He manages to capture that in his paintings in a way that very, very few artists, I think, succeed. And then he creates this drama around it, which is just stunning. But I really don't think there's any Caravaggio that I would want in my house on a regular basis. Partially because the themes are not my themes, right? So the themes are often invoke Christian images. So a lot of the themes are out of the scriptures, whether it's a crucifixion. I mean, magnificent crucifixion. I love seeing it in a museum, and there's a sense in which, there's a sense in which it inspires, excites. But it's not something I'd want to see every day. Like even Dali's crucifixion, Salvador Dali's crucifixion, is magnificent. It's beautiful. Ayn Rand really loved that painting. And it kind of a secularization of Jesus. And it takes out the element of pain because he doesn't have the nails binding him to the posts. He's more floating. Thank you, Apollo. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Landon. Thank you, Andy. And I'll get to the questions in a little while. But I wouldn't, even there, there's just, there's a sense in which I despise Jesus so much that I just don't want him staring at me every day when I walk in, even if I admire the painting. Or there's a magnificent Caravaggio of Salome, I think it's Salome, or is it Judith? I think it's Salome with the head of one of the saints, right? She's just had the god chop off his head and deliver the head on a silver platter to her, right? Okay, I'm not crazy about, even though it's a beautiful painting, magnificently done. Again, the drama of it, just inspiring. I don't want to look at that every day. She's crazy. There's a bloody head on a silver platter. Not exactly appetizing. So again, there is, you have to kind of figure out not just what is a great painting. What is a painting even that inspires you? But what is a painting that you want to look at every day? What is a painting you want to look at every day? Thank you, Frank. The head of John the Baptist. Thanks, Tom. Yes. Head of John the Baptist. I do have a painting. I showed it on one of the shows of a chopped off head, but you can barely see the head. And what you see is Judith, who's a heroine. She's not crazy. She's just chopped off the head of her enemy to save her country. And she's standing there proud and assertive with that, great. That's inspiring. That I can look at every day, and I do. So think about what you can look at every day. The other thing about surrounding yourself with beauty is not just what's visual, right? Surround yourself with sounds you like. So, I've always dreamt of living on a cliff above the ocean. I don't live on a cliff above the ocean, but I live in a condo above the ocean. And, sitting on the balcony, hearing the waves just splash against the rocks. I love that sound. It just calms me. it reminds me of certain things in my childhood. That's for me, that's a great sound. And that's part of surround yourself with beauty. Find an environment, right? I know people who buy these artificial waterfalls because they like that sound of water. Surround yourself with, great music. Have a decent stereo system. Try to listen to music on a regular basis. Find the music that you love. Challenge yourself to listen to new music. Push the boundaries of what you like by testing out new things, trying to get used to it, seeing if it appeals, seeing if it evokes. Spend some time every day on beauty. Spend some time every day on beauty, whether it's listening to beautiful music, watching fantastic movies, or standing in front of the art that you have and enjoying it. But give yourself, every day, give yourself some time to just immerse yourself in an aesthetic experience. And I know most of us do it in television with movies or TV shows, and that's great. But diversify. Try other ones. Try, as I've recommended in the past many times, turning off the lights, cranking up the volume on some beautiful piece of music that you love, and just lying there with your eyes closed and just letting the music envelop you. Right? Just envelop you. Same is true of, again, movies, TV shows. Try to watch stuff that you'll enjoy, that will inspire. Yeah, sometimes you have to watch kind of the something might be depressing or everything because it's really good and there's some really powerful values there. But also, don't ignore the pleasure of watching something that's just pleasurable to watch, fun to watch. So surround yourself with art, meaning experience art. It means go to concerts, go to the opera, go to a piano recital once in a while, go to places that are beautiful, go see a great waterfall up in the mountains, go to some amazing scenery wherever it happens to be. Seek out in your life, in your daily life, on your vacations, seek out beauty. And in your entertainment or in your night out, seek out beauty. Seek out beautiful things to enjoy, to contemplate. One of the things I love about classical music, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Now, I can't tell you exactly why it's beautiful. Matthew asks, did Rand ever talk about how she defined beauty? Did she see it as an objective quality or something personal, subjective? I think it is objective, but again, objective is not separate from personal. It's in reality as you, right, respond to it. So, but it has to be, your response has to be based on something, some characteristic in reality. So she did talk some about beauty, but she didn't talk a lot about it. It's something that work needs to be done to figure out. There's certain universal principles. For example, symmetry is a universal principle. But for example, a beautiful face in Asia is going to be different than a beautiful face in Europe. But what's true of both is beauty, for example, on a face is typically associated with symmetry. There's certain principles that the Greeks talked about in terms of beauty that seem, we don't know exactly why, but seem that human beings are attracted to it. Look at both these paintings. What is a dominant, a shape that is at the center of both of them? What's a shape that it's a center of both of them? And you can find it in most successful paintings. And by the way, I'm not comparing, right? A shape that, and you can find this in many sculptures and many paintings, that draws the eye, the eye tends to be, triangles, right? There's a triangle, there's a certain relationship, and the triangles have a certain relationship. Here you see the triangle in the man holding the poster with his leg and his shoulder, and his gaze is following his arm, so it leads you down his arm to the print, then up his body, back to his face. Right? Here in the Vermeer, you see his gaze. Again, same kind of principle. Think about it. The look is towards the globe, but then the light is driving your eye down to the hand and up towards the face again. So again, you've got a triangle. So certain shapes that seem to attract us, seem to appeal to human beings. This is, the Greeks talked about a golden mean. Joe says Fibonacci's sequence. I don't know. Linda says the rule of 3. I don't know enough about it. But I know that there's a certain appeal to organizing around pyramids, around triangles. Now, great art uses light to draw your eye to where the artist wants you to draw it, to draw your eye to the center of attention. And here it's, in the Vermeer, it's the geographer's gaze on the globe. That's the central. That's what it's all about. That's what's driving it, right? All right, so beauty is not just beauty is in the eye beholder. There's an element that is personal, but it's also objective. So it's relate to certain things in reality. We generally agree on what's ugly. We generally vaguely agree on what's beautiful. All right, so when I say surround yourself with beauty, it's not just the architecture, it's not just the interior design, it's not just your desk or the paintings on the wall. It's the music you listen to and the TV shows you watch and the movies you watch. It's the places you go, it's the car you drive. I shouldn't say this because I'm really bad at this. The clothes you wear. That's one that I never got. Right? The clothes you wear never stuck with me. I've always been on the principle of comfort. But I understand why it's important. It's the concerts you go to. It's the food you eat. Right? Again, it's the same principle. If you can afford to go to nice restaurants, go to nice restaurants. Treat yourself once in a while to a great meal. And again, push your boundaries. Try new things. Expand the scope of what you find amazingly beautiful to the palate. And at a great restaurant, often on the dish is super aesthetic, super beautiful, right? So push yourself in these things. Try food from different cultures, from different parts of the world, different flavors, different levels of spiciness. Just try different things. We're so easy to settle. And again, I don't want beauty to be here. What I think beautiful is today is what I'm going to think beautiful is 20 years from now. Let yourself learn, grow, evolve, change. Get better at it. Right? So surround yourself with beauty is your entire environment. Everything that's involved in it. Right? Everything that's involved in it. Everything that's involved in your action in the world out there. Try to experience the best. Experience the beautiful. Experience the breathtaking. Experience the amazing. Right? And of course, there are even more dimensions for this. And here it gets a little tricky because try to surround yourself with beautiful people. And here I don't mean physically beautiful people. I mean spiritually beautiful people. People who inspire you. People who you have fun to be around. People who you enjoy. People who make you smile, stimulate your mind, and share your values. Whether it's a spouse, friends, try to surround yourself with beautiful souls, beautiful spirits that make your life better, that make your life more enjoyable. Remember, we started out with life is everything. Your life is everything. Take it seriously. Embrace it. And that means, I really mean it. Jennifer says, the more you like someone, the better looking they get. Yeah. And the opposite is true. You know, I've met women who are beautiful, and everybody thinks they're beautiful. And first, somebody, wow, beautiful. And then you get to know them a little bit, and they're like, no, not really. They're not that beautiful anymore. The beauty kind of fades. So find people who really are great values to you. Friendship and love are crucial in life. I think we did, Yaron Rules number 2 is all about friendship and love and relationships. All right, and then the final one, and then I'll go to questions. The final one is make yourself beautiful. And here again, I don't mean physically. Although, don't reject physical beauty. That is, make yourself beautiful in the sense that take care of yourself. Try to be fit. Try not to put on weight. You know, if you don't have to, if it's not some kind of medical condition or something. Work out. Take care of your body. Take care of who you are, what you are, how you look to the extent that you have that under control. So, take care of yourself. Don't abandon yourself, particularly as you get older, right? And the body's just not gonna, it's not just gonna stay in shape from inertia. It requires work. And that work is not only gonna make you look a little better, but it's gonna make you healthier. So lift some weights. Go walking or running or jogging or playing tennis or whatever it is that you love doing. And lift some weights. Somebody says so basically Bronze Age pervert. No, because it's not a primary. Yeah, it's an aspect. You should do it. I'm not against it. Never was. And by the way, this goes for women as well as men. So I think Bronze Age pervert only addresses this. The only pictures I ever see of men, if I was posting pictures of beautiful bodies, I would post pictures of women, not men. But, So go out there and work out. Work out. But more important than that is work on having a beautiful soul. And that's a whole topic of what that means. But work on having a beautiful soul. Work on having a soul that radiates, that projects values, that projects, hopefully, the happiness you feel inside, that is healthy, sound, rational, pleasure-seeking, fun, ambitious. All those virtues. A soul that is proud, morally ambitious. So work on shaping your own soul. Ayn Rand, this is Ayn Rand's view, is that you make yourself into who you are. And it's through the choices that you make, the things that you take as important, the things that you take seriously, the things that you choose to focus on. All those things shape you into the kind of soul that you have. Ali says she's focusing on a beautiful soul. She's too lazy to work out. You see, but having a beautiful soul takes more work than working out. Working out's easy in comparison. It's not just that you're nice and pleasant and friendly, and no, at all. It's that you're passionate and focused and ambitious and value-oriented. That's what I think a beautiful soul is. All right. Ali says she likes challenges. Then go work out. All right. Thank you, Creighton. Thank you, Mike. Okay, so you're on Rules for Living. Part 3 is pursue beauty in every aspect of your life. Pursue beauty in every aspect of your life. Spiritual, physical, environment, aesthetic, artistic, in relationships, beauty of a soul. All right. So I'm open for questions. It would be great to get questions about this topic, if you have any. Yeah, it's, let me see. We've already got questions. Alejandrina says we're at basically $700. We're looking at $304 so we can reach Alejandrina's goal of $1,000 for my birthday. So we're about $300 short of Alejandrina's goal. Let's see. Do you have any advice for people with common, low type art tastes who want to get into higher? I love comic books, so it may be funny, but they can inspire me, looking to expand my taste. Well, that's good. I mean, it's great that you love comic books. There's nothing wrong with comic books. Comic books are great. They're enjoyable. You like them. That's good. And they definitely have stories with values. But it's good to be ambitious. And it's good to know that there's more than comic books. So, you know, if you look for novels that might have, if you like comic books that have heroes in it, I assume the comic books are superhero comic books, I'm just guessing. Look for novels that have great heroes as part of them. Look for novels that portray the heroic, the ambitious. I mean, the obvious here is Victor Hugo. But there are others, particularly in the 19th century, whether it's Dumas or, I don't know, I love the book, although I think Leonard Peikoff didn't like this book, but I really love it. I discussed this with him once. Ivanhoe. I love the book Ivanhoe. Find books with, noble, heroic characters in them. And there are plenty of them. Even in the modern world. Now, in the modern world, they might be more, I don't know, detective stories, or they might be more focused on I don't know, spying, action, spy stuff, or whatever. The Bourne Identity, which is I enjoyed the book. So find books now. Go from comics to books. And from books to great books like Hugo, right? Hugo is the ultimate. Callum McKay is a fabulous book, right? So there are plenty of books, but again, Callum McKay is like, it's really good values. But there are a lot of good books. Just start reading, figuring out what you like. Yeah, Callum McKay is about the essence of an American efficacious man who knows how to deal with reality. Like that. But do the same in every part of art. So you might like, I don't know, rap in music, because that's what you grew up with, and that's what's in there. Well, try some classical music in small doses. But seriously, not as background music. Classical music is not background music. Try something dramatic like Beethoven, but try it seriously. Try it for a few minutes. Try one movement in a symphony instead of the whole symphony. Or one movement in a concerto, piano concerto, Rachmaninoff's second or Tchaikovsky's first or something like that. And just see what it does to you, and don't give up, because I told you not to give up. As somebody who knows something about these things. Sometimes you just have to keep trying, and something will hit, and you have to have patience. Take an art history class, maybe online, just to get a sense of the historical art, the arc of art through time. First of all, it's fascinating. It's so much fun. It's so interesting, right? Just the arc of history through the perspective of the different artists and how art evolved with the times. And most art history classes are pretty good, although, some of the modern stuff might be garbage. But, as long as you stop at around 1920, everything after that, they're useless. The art historians are useless at. And they typically don't do a very good job in the 19th century, but anything earlier than that, they're very good at. So, again, at least spark the interest, and then start going to museums. And I gave this advice in the past. Go to a museum and don't overload yourself. It's very easy to get museum fatigue because your senses get overloaded because there's so much going on. You're seeing so many things. You don't know what to look at. It's just too much. So go into a museum room, scan it, find one or two paintings that your eye, something in you is just attracted to, and just go there and stand in front of it and just try to contemplate it and try to understand it and try to see what it is about it drew your eye to it. Why did your eye go there and not to any one of the other paintings in the room? And just take your time. No rush. Don't have to see everything. You don't have to see the Mona Lisa. It's good to see it once in a life. You don't have to rush to see it and stand in line and look over people's shoulders and stuff. Focus on things you like, but go to museums, pre-20th century museums. That is, museums that have pre-20th century art in them. Same with sculpture. Go to a sculpture garden and just contemplate them. Just look at them. Just see if any of them evoke any emotion in you, any response, any interest. And slowly you expand your horizon. Right? Like, don't start with the hardest. Don't try to take it all in. Do it slowly. Do it slowly. Like, you don't start with going to listen to, I don't know, Mahler's Third Symphony, which is like an hour and a half long and really hard. Start with Beethoven. Start with Rachmaninoff. Start with Tchaikovsky. Start with something that's easy. I mean, still a challenge, but relatively easy. And slowly expand. All right. Danse Macabre or Moonlight Sonata? Oh, that one's easy. Moonlight Sonata. Yeah, Thomas, who is a conductor, a classical music conductor, says, don't start with a Wagner opera. Absolutely. Start with Verdi or Rossini or Puccini. I mean, they're hard enough. Opera's hard enough. Don't start with Wagner or Bellini or anybody in the late 19th century except Puccini. And with opera even, start with just listening to a few arias, like on a CD or on streaming music. You don't have to start with a whole blown thing. And try to go sometime to an opera. Try to go watch an opera live. All right. Let's see. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for all the well wishes. We need a list of great pieces of art that you can get cheap copies of. I have a few cheap $40 to $80 sculptures I bought on Amazon. The Thinker, Atlas Holding Up the Universe, Jefferson and Hamilton. I mean, if you look online, I think it's Art Restoration, artrestoration.com, something like that. Let's just see, Art Restoration prints. No, it's not Art Restoration. It's Art something. I mean, if you look online for great art reproductions, you will find them. And you can find posters for $10 that are beautiful, beautiful paintings. And there are a bunch of places that do these. The vintage reproduction prints. There's museums that you can scroll online and buy in the museum shops. There's allposters.com. There's a lot of different places. There's artprintsondemand.com. Where you can get all kinds of stuff. So there's a bunch of it. Travis, thank you. So just go online and look. I mean, we're spoiled to no end in the sense of access to, affordable, great reproductions of art. Right? That one I did. Danse Macabre, Moonlight Sonata. I think I said Moonlight Sonata easily. Who's the most beautiful woman you've ever seen? Just in terms of just beautiful woman, I don't know. I mean, I like the exotic look, kind of a mixture of different locations. Yeah, I don't know. No name pops into my head, right? In terms of model or actress. I mean, I've seen a lot of beautiful women in different places. So the most beautiful, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. Like Jennifer says, Audrey Hepburn. I mean, Audrey Hepburn is obviously beautiful, beautiful. But I can't separate my love for Audrey Hepburn from her acting. And there's a sense in which, particularly when she was young, she's beautiful and cute. I don't know. She doesn't strike me as the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. But there's so many beautiful, right? In terms of just physical beauty. All right. Michael Malice recently made the point that having these creative types fleeing democratic cities to red states has never happened before, where all this creativity goes to the Republican Party. Although they are fleeing to blue states of red states. I don't know what that means. I don't know. I mean, is the creativity going to the Republican Party? Or do these people, when they go to these other states, ultimately move those states in the direction of Democrats? That's certainly what happened in Colorado. That's certainly what happened in Oregon and Washington State. People from California moved them left, not right. Oregon used to be a Republican state not that long ago. So I don't know if that's true. And again, the movement out of California, for example, is real, and it's happening, and it's significant. But is it that significant? How significant is it? How would we measure that? Its significance. So hard to tell. Did you ever go through a period where nothing moved you? At 40, I find myself quite cynical about most things, and I genuinely struggle to get excited about art, music, literature, film. Is it possible to reset? Yeah, I think it's possible and important to reset, because life's too short to be cynical. So no, I don't think I ever found myself in that kind of period. But I've lived with a wife that I've loved forever, right? For 38 years we've been married. So that's anti-cynical, right? Somebody who shares my values and shares all that stuff. But I've always get excited about art, music, literature, film, etc. I've never given up on that. I mean, my tastes have evolved somewhat, but I've never given up on that essence. And you've got to reset. I mean, your life depends on it. What's the point? Like, you're 40, you've got another 40 years to live. In terms of conscious life, more in front of you than what you've behind you. What's the point if you're not going to enjoy it? If you're not going to get excited by it? If you're not going to be passionate by it? Giving up, becoming cynical and giving up on these things is giving up on life. And don't do it. My show is supposed to be your reset. I'm slapping you in the face right now and reminding you of the first principle, the first rule of your own rules for living. Your life is everything. You only have one of it. Every minute you'll never get back. Take it seriously and live it with gusto, with passion, with no compromise. So you can reset, and I'd say you have to reset. Jeff, thank you. Thomas, thank you. Let's see. Mike says, I know the art you have in that room, But what is the most beautiful piece of art that you have? Well, I have a sculpture that my wife sculpted that is magnificent. It is a life-size male nude, incredibly powerful, really expressive. He's life-size. He dominates the room. That's incredibly beautiful. What else is the most beautiful? I'm not good at the most. Oh, we have this sculpture. I'll have to show you photos of these sometime. I have this sculpture that we bought in Rome. I think it was Rome, years and years ago. It's made of Carrara marble. And it has that translucent, that beautiful, just a life sense that marble has. And it's just a portrait of a young woman. It's mostly a profile because you still see the rough marble, and her face is, her head is kind of coming out of the marble. And when the light hits that just right, it's stunningly beautiful. Stunning. And what else? My wife sculpts. So my wife is an artist. She has an amazing eye and amazing aesthetic. There are quite a few paintings that I own that I really love. Anyway, once I get my home here in Puerto Rico set up, which keeps getting delayed, but it is going to happen in the next few months. I'll take some photos of art that I love and art that I own that I love, posters and originals and giclées, and I'll put some of them up on a show, and we'll just do a show called Art Yaron Owns and Loves or something like that, and you'll get to see it. You'll get to see it. All right. Let's see. So we're moving away from topic, but let me just say, Alejandrina is really eager to get us to $1,000 as a birthday present. We're at 806, so we're really not that far from $1,000. So if you guys can help out, anybody out there who can help out, get us to $1,000, go for it. I know I will appreciate it. Alejandrina will appreciate it. And it'll be a great, great birthday gift. Just $194 more. All right, this is from Michael. Incentivizing homelessness is seen as a legitimate way to fight capitalism. The more homeless they are, the more they can claim it is the fault of a capitalist economy. Of course, how can they get away with that when they're incentivizing it, right? That's not capitalism. Capitalism does not incentivize homelessness, quite the opposite. Do you think most Americans blame the homeless problems in our major city on capitalism or statism? I think most Americans have no clue. They just don't know. And if you make a claim to them, if you make an argument to them that it is the fault of statism, they would all nod their heads and go, yeah. And then somebody else would walk into the room and make the argument that it was capitalism. Yeah, that makes sense. They just don't know. They don't have the context. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the sense of where homelessness actually comes from, the housing regulations, the reason the cost of living is so high, particularly housing is so high, the incentives for people to go on the streets of LA because the mayor and the governor promised them all these goodies, or the mental health crisis that exists in this country. The number of people who are in the streets because they have real mental health problems. And there's no easy, obvious solution to that. How many of those mental health problems are caused by an altruistic, mystical state of society? And would capitalism in a truly free society, would we have better ways to cope, better ways to handle, better ways to deal with people who had severe mental issues? I think so, but I don't have the exact mechanism, right? Part of the issue is mental disease was, there used to be mental institutions that used to house a lot of these people, and a lot of them were closed because there was this idea that mental disease is not real, that it's in a sense labeled, people are labeled that way, and if we let them out of the mental institutions, they would cope and deal with the world, and many of them couldn't, and many of them became homeless. Gene says, shout out to great video games. Will we start seeing purely digital art that holds up for centuries? I hope so. Maybe. The problem with video games is it's a game. So it engages you in a way that art doesn't, which is a plus and a minus. But it also means that can be very addictive, very engaging. Jimmy Hernandez, thank you. I'm not sure exactly how much money that is, but it's I'm sure very generous. So thanks a lot. It's a color that says very generous. So thank you, Jamie. I think we just got closer to your goal, Alanvina. So you have to be careful with video games. Not to get sucked into it and devote all your time to it or devote all your free time to it. And not have a broad base of aesthetic experiences. I think there's a whole generation out there right now that has a very narrow perspective on aesthetic experiences because all they have is video games and they don't know anything else. And this is to some extent true of movies and TV shows because it's an easy medium to consume. It doesn't require long attention spans. And yet attention span is important. Attention span is incredibly valuable. So broaden. If you're into video games, great. But then broaden beyond. Challenge yourself. So 1,000 Mexican pesos is $50. So thank you, Jamie. That's very generous. Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate the well wishes and the dollars. 41 Mexican pesos to the dollar. All right. Let's see. When you were working in university, did you ever bring up Ayn Rand to your colleagues? What was their response? Yeah, I mean, they all knew. All my colleagues knew. In my finance department, I was not very good at hiding it. I didn't try. And I taught Ayn Rand at Jesuit University. I mean, the Jesuits hated me. But my colleagues in the finance department didn't really care. I mean, one professor I wrote most of my papers with, who's still a really, really good friend of mine and a business partner, liked Ayn Rand. Wasn't an objectivist, but really liked Ayn Rand. Others didn't quite understand why I liked Ayn Rand, but were okay with it. So there was no resentment within the finance department. And the economics department at the time when I taught was very free market oriented. So there was no resentment over there. In the rest of the business school, and certainly outside of the business school, yeah, they hated my guts. And they couldn't wait to get rid of me. But they never would say that to my face. That's just the background. Did you see Noam Chomsky's interview with Patrick Ben-David? No, I didn't. I guess it was yesterday. Chomsky is so full of, he should just paint himself brown. I mean, Chomsky's bad. Really, really, really bad. Yep. All right. Happy birthday. Thanks as always for every show, lecture, and interview. Also, I can't resist another question. What do you think of David Horowitz? I mean, David, I used to like him. I used to like a lot of people before Trump more than I like them today. I used to like him. I liked him after 9/11. He was pretty good. He had been almost a communist. I mean, a real leftist. And when he came over to the right, he came with religion. but also with this belief of there's no absolute right. But he was good on foreign policy, he was good on Islam, without being crazy. But over time, he became, I don't know, too angry, too bitter, and ultimately too enthralled with Trump and the whole pragmatic Trump agenda. And I think a lot of people who didn't see any other way out thought that Trump was their only hope, I guess. So I liked some of his earlier stuff, the more recent stuff I've liked less. Yeah, too dark, the Muslims are going to take over the world. I mean, that's never going to happen. It's never going to, I mean, the West might die, but it's not Islam that's going to win. It's the West might commit suicide. But Muslims are not the threat. We are. Too, like many intellectuals on the right, too obsessed with the evil of the left rather than focused on what good the right has to offer. You mentioned Body by Science in a previous show. That really was a great read. Yes, it was. Can you give some other little-known gems of books? Oh. Not off the top of my mind, unless, I mean, I'd have to think about that one and come up with stuff. I mean, right now I'm rereading The Cave in the Light, and I will do a show on the book. But talk about a gem of a book. I'm really enjoying it. Really, really, really enjoying it. Frank, thank you. Appreciate your implicit formality. You give the okay to think. Happy birthday. I'm not sure, what does implicit formality mean? Because I think of myself as very informal. But I am about giving more than your okay to think. I'm about kicking you in the butt to get you to think, right? In a metaphorical sense, right? Not literally kicking. But like I was slapping what's his name around because I need him to have a reset and refocus on having a good life. I know my Celtics are losing and they're going to lose. I know. Brownie 003. I'm sure you're enjoying the fact that they're losing. But yeah, without Jaylen Brown, they don't have a chance. And even with him, the team's not, I don't know. There's just something wrong with the team. It's like you think they have the right pieces, but not quite. Not quite. All right, now somebody has to step in to save Ali from a sleepless night, right? We're at $986. I mean, I'm almost tempted to kick in $14 just to get it over the top, so that we don't get to so we get to the thousands. Ali is not disappointed, considerably disappointed. Rob considers himself slapped. Good. Wake up. All right, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff. You are amazing. You guys are all amazing. Thank you. That is, we got some more Mexican pesos. Thank you, Bernardo. This is great. I didn't realize, I had people from Mexico. And Jamie's coming in with more Mexican pesos. So now we're well over 1,000. Thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate it. And it's great to know the people on here listening in Mexico right now. Probably not a lot of Europeans on right now because it's so late at night. But we have Europeans, we have Israelis, we have South Americans, we have Mexicans, obviously. I'm sure there's some Canadians. And if the time was more normal, Brits and Australians. We know the Australians usually come in with big Australian dollars to support the show. And the number of people who listen to the show all over the world is always inspiring. And some of the most committed and loyal listeners are from all over. Here's Marius from Norway. Thank you. Happy birthday, and thank you for being so incredibly good at making me see the good in life. You and Rand have have thought me an absolutely wonderful way to view my life and world for the better. That is fantastic. Rob is one of the Australians. Excellent. So about 50% of my YouTube viewers are Americans, and the rest are from all over the place. Quite a few Australians, quite a few Brits, quite a few Canadians. You'd expect there's a emphasis on the Anglo-Saxon world, but then Israelis, Germans, Poles, Brazilians, Mexicans, really all over the world. It's truly inspiring. So, all right, guys, I will see you. This week's going to be crazy because we're trying to get enough rooms in the new condo ready so that we can move into some of them. We're moving into construction zone next Monday. So we're going to have to see if we can minimize the construction zone so we can have enough place so we can actually live in. I don't have Palestinian viewers, but I have quite a few viewers, I don't think. But I have viewers from Saudi Arabia. We've had a number of viewers from Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, from Tunisia. I have a number of followers from Tunisia. From Morocco, I think. Quite a bit of North Africa, Egypt. So, and who knows? Maybe some Palestinians. It would be great to find out. It would be nice to have some. I am not giving up on Palestinians because individuals. You are not determined by your culture. You're certainly not determined by the place that you are born in. We have listeners from Africa. All over Africa. All right. I will see you. What happened to the camera? Oops. Supposed to have stability control. Okay, we'll get the camera. Hopefully you noticed that the picture was earlier, not so much right now. Yeah, the quality of the picture has deteriorated for some reason. It was better earlier. Anyway, hopefully you noticed that the picture was better earlier. I'll still work on the camera to get it better, and we're going to be in the new studio starting Friday. I mean, it'll be kind of bare and stuff, but we're moving all the furniture up there, moving the cameras and the computer and everything up there on Friday. So Friday show, if I do on a Friday, will be from there. All right, Friday or Saturday. See you guys probably on Tuesday. Bye, everybody.